Well, greetings, everyone, and welcome to another Thursday night of the Sports Crib. This is our Super Bowl wrap up, and we're going to look behind and ahead. I see Mike is in the queue, and Demetrius should be joining us shortly. Mike, how are you doing?
I'm doing good tonight. How about yourself, sir?
I'm doing pretty good. I was very perplexed about the answer that you gave me when I asked you about the show, and you said there's nothing to talk about.
Yeah.
And all day long, I hear Carson Wentz, Carson
Yeah.
Wentz, Carson. I mean, as a Colt fan, are you doing the ostrich act on me here? But I mean, what do you mean there's nothing to talk about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Super Bowl was pretty boring to me. Yeah,
Oh man,
Carson Wentz
you,
thing.
you not
It's
not
definitely an ostrich situation.
you know Demetrius is coming.
Oh, he's gonna.
He- and I want you to repeat that first statement. But but go ahead back to the ostrich. Yeah.
Yeah. It's well, I have an ostrich. You have a crow. We got an animal farm going here. Yeah, it's one of those things. Yeah, I mean, I don't. It's hard to talk about because I don't know which way it's going to go. I know there's a hell lot of talk out there that Carson Wentz won't be a Colt next year. Part of me is leaning to the fact that yeah, that makes sense. The other part of me is to sort of like, well, I don't understand it either because he started the year. He. It's almost like his season was like a sandwich, right? So the first part of the year, it started off like with the bread, and the bread was something that is there to hold the sandwich together, but it's not something that we look forward to when we eat, a sandwich. We want the meat and the pickles and all that good stuff. So
hey, we're doing bread and sandwiches. What did I just come into?
it's a culinary show, Demetrius.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm good. I like sandwiches. Let's go. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'll do a nice ham and cheese sandwich. I can do that
Let me catch you up to what happened.
Please. Okay. We here for the meat. We here for the bread.
I sent Mike a text, and talking about the show tonight, how we might have to ad lib because you and I were both traveling. So Mike sent me back a text. There's not much to talk about until what did you say, Mike?
The combine.
The combine.
Right. Yeah.
But all day long, Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
So I asked Mike, was he doing? Was he doing? As a Colt fan, an ostrich take on me?
He buried his head squarely in the sand. Is what we're talking about. Okay. I got you.
So you came in on his exclamation of
all I heard was all I care about in the sandwich is the meat. I ain't here for the bread.
There's another statement that he made when he first came on that I'm going to ask him to repeat to you. But go ahead.
All right.
Okay. So go ahead.
I'm caught up now.
Yeah, we're talking about how I have an ostrich and James has some crow to eat. So we're pretty much Animal Farm going on here. So and then I jumped into Carson Wentz season because I'm not entirely against him coming back next year, just because the season started, and then this is where I jumped into the sandwich because in the beginning of the season, it was sort of like bread, like you're not there for the bread, you're there for the meat and everything else in the middle of the sandwich. Where Carson Wentz started off with a foot injury and he played like 2 or 3 games with it, and it just wasn't very good.
Yeah.
And then you jump into like week 4, and then we got really pretty good Carson Wentz, almost reflecting like, 2018 kind of season, 2017, solid, really solid player.
Mm-hmm.
And then as the season wore on, we got more bread. And I think at the very end, it was, we lost to Jacksonville and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So it was bread, good portion of meat and all that good stuff in the middle, and then more bread at the end. But he also had COVID too. We forgot that he had COVID in like week 16. And so that might have had something to do with the fact that he didn't play well at the end as well. So I don't know. I'm sort of stuck in the middle. If we can get someone better, I'm all about getting better. But as far as he needs to go, he sucks, he's horrible, I don't believe in that either. So I'm sort of in the middle.
Nice. All right. Can I do a quick game with Mike then?
Well, no, wait a minute. Well,
I thought we were winging it. Yeah, it'll be quick.
No,
I'm just-
go.
Yeah, I'm going to run down the names, and I just want to say, would you take him over Carson if the trade or whatever is doable and it doesn't cripple you? Just 3 or 4 guys, real quick. I assume yes on Russell, right?
Yes, for sure.
Garoppolo.
It's the same to me. So I'd say no.
Okay. I assume Aaron Rodgers, but I'm not even going to try that one. But in Houston, the rapist.
Deshaun Watson.
Deshaun Watson. No, it's not a rapist. I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
He's not been proven yet. But that's going to cost you, though. So it's going to cost you quite a bit. But you would do it,
it'll
right?
probably cost like 4 games or something, 5 games in the beginning of the season.
Correct.
So
and there's a package. So that's a package. I think you can get the other guys pretty easy. Okay, I was just curious about that because I think you guys are the Rams last year. I think you're a quarterback away. I think your defense is that good, and you got potentially, as James told me, the second best running back in football. So I think you guys are a quarterback away.
Yeah, for sure. Because and it doesn't even have to be a great quarterback. It just has to be someone that's maybe above. It just, if Carson Wentz can play like he did in that middle portion of the season, then we are a playoff team. We had 2 weeks before the season ended, we had was like a 95% chance of making the playoffs.
Yeah.
So it's already a playoff team as long as we just don't, shoot ourselves in the foot.
Yeah. You're Matthew Stafford away.
But wait a minute now, hold it now. Who's T.Y. Hilton in this? O.J. Beckham or Cooper Kupp?
T.Y.
I think so. So Pittman is still there, right? He's not going anywhere, is he?
Pittman's staying. T.Y. Hilton's probably gone. I would say that's probably like
the difference, though. The difference is Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah.
The Rams don't have Jonathan Taylor, right? That's the thing. So it wouldn't be exactly like the Rams, but it would be a nice balance with Jonathan Taylor. If Stafford were available now, he'd be a great fit for them. I think Russ is the fit. I think you do whatever you got to do to go get Russ, and I think you guys are there. You're the AFC is stacked then, but that defense is no joke, and I think you're wasting it if you don't go. Because I'm not a Carson. I'm not a Carson guy. All due respect, I've never been a Carson guy. I think you guys are in a position, and I think you might have the draft capital to go do it too. You can make a move. So,
we don't have a first-round pick this year.
Oh, you know what? I'm confusing you guys with the Eagles. Who's got 3 1s? I thought that was
the Eagles.
That's my bad. I knew somebody had 3 1s. It's Eagles.
Okay, Eagles got the Colts pick. In fact, that's right. Because of Carson Wentz. And that's one of the things that I think a lot of people are frustrated about is you have a team that didn't make the playoffs and you still give up the first round pick, and all of that is for Carson Wentz.
But if you're right about him and he's healthy and his head is straight and he plays like the meat of the sandwich, if I understood the analogy right, for 12 games, then you're back where you should be. So
now, Demetrius, usually I'm the one that starts out with the things that controversial things that, like I said, I've got to play the crow bones over here. But Matt, what was that statement that you opened up the show with?
Oh, with the crows and the ostrich and
No. Before that,
Oh.
the Super Bowl was what?
Oh, the Super Bowl was boring.
I'm sorry. What game did you watch? Was there another game on, James, that I missed?
Well, this is Matt's. This is Matt's statement, not mine.
Okay, all right. So, Matt, can you tell me what the definition of the word boring is? Because I went to school in Michigan. Maybe we got a different definition. I don't know. But I think you went to a school in Michigan too, so we should have the same definition, even if we don't like each other.
Okay, let me put it this way. Would you have found the Super Bowl exciting if Matthew Stafford was not in the Super Bowl? If it was some other quarterback?
Absolutely. What are you talking about? It's a 4-point game with 6 minutes left. And the winning team went on a 15-play drive to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yes. What are we talking about? That was now maybe we're mixing up. Was there great execution? Okay, I'll give you that. There were some drops. I think there were unfortunate injuries. I think here's the real thing. I think you might live in that University of Michigan black and white world of it wasn't super exciting, and the only option other than super exciting is boring. I come from a place where there's a continuum, and there's a whole bunch of options between exciting and boring. It wasn't the most exciting game.
Okay.
It wasn't the best of the 7 playoff games the last few weeks of the year because championship week and divisional week, those were great games.
Right.
But it was still a good game. I mean, they had the ball down 4 with 6 minutes left, and I knew what was going to happen because I knew who their quarterback was. I was gonna send Mr. King a message just saying, watch this.
It's over now.
Right. He had 6 minutes down 4. I had no doubt they were going to score a touchdown and win the Super Bowl. No doubt.
Me neither. Yeah. I mean, and I think maybe you're right with that. To me, it just didn't bring that excitement that it should have with the Super Bowl as far as all the elements that you're talking about. And I don't know. Maybe I was just
it wasn't exciting. I agree. If you're saying it wasn't exciting, I agree. Yeah. I didn't think it was boring. But oftentimes the Super Bowls are blowouts. I don't have high expectation of the Super Bowls. But I wouldn't say it was exciting. And like I said, when they got the ball with 6 minutes left, I knew the game's over. And that's not even me trying to be cute. That's not me trying to be cute. That's me saying I knew the Rams were going to score, and then Aaron Donald was going to put a nail in the coffin or a nail in Joe Burrow's head, whichever one he had his hand. I mean, whichever one he could, because that guy was the best player on the field.
Yeah.
Which we all knew. I think we all said so.
Yeah.
Well, I could change my stance to it was enjoyable, but it wasn't.
I think it was enjoyable, but I wouldn't say it was exciting. I wouldn't say it was exciting, but it was enjoyable.
Yeah. Now, I thought that it was exciting at halftime. I loved the halftime show. I mean, the halftime show was exciting. There's nothing boring about the halftime show.
No, that was better than the Super Bowl, to my opinion.
Well, that's my wheelhouse. That was fantastic. Yeah. I didn't need Batman 50 Cent, but other than that, like 50 Cent hanging upside down in a bar, I wasn't quite ready for that. Everything else, I could never get enough of Snoop crip walking. I could never get enough. I'll be 80 wanting to see Snoop crip walking, and he will be. He'll be 80 and he'll be doing it.
That's only 5 years now. Come on.
Exactly. But you can never get enough of that. And I thought I'm a big Mary J. Blige guy. She could never let me down. I thought it was a really good show. I did. I enjoyed it. It's in my top 5.
Hey, I mean, if you just watch the Power series, Mary J. Blige got to be
exactly right. And that's what I said on my own podcast. I'm not a big 50 music guy. I like his TV shows quite a bit, though. The TV shows are nice. I'm into every iteration of Power. I'm here for.
I record them, so if I'm not here, then,
that's one of the 2 or 3 shows that I watch real time. Unless I'm on the move on Sunday night, I'm in front of my TV. I'm watching that.
Would you say he's a better actor than a music guy?
No, he's a better musician. He's the executive producer of these shows. He does play a character that kind of travels throughout all the shows.
Yeah,
he's dead now, but he still runs around.
I saw him in Escape Plan with Stallone, and he was pretty good in that.
That is he acts like 50. Every character is the same dude. It's him.
Yeah.
It's him.
Yeah. I mean,
but he's the executive producer of a really good series of shows called Power.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
It's on Stars. Yeah, the Stars Network.
what's the movie he does out there? They assemble well, anyway. But getting back to the game now, there was some time. Well, actually, there were 2 times that Demetrius, I actually agree with you, but not for the reasons that you think.
I love this already. I love this no script winging it shit. We should do this more often. Go ahead. Go ahead. I like this.
And it's a guy that has done a lot of traveling, but he's never lived up to the position. But he loves to run his mouth and about how he will cover the best receiver on the field.
Yeah.
And instead of being a blanket, he's more like a tissue.
Yeah.
So when Eli Apple came out and said, I'm like, oh my God, there we go. Okay. Starting in the third quarter, I'm looking at his play. And I'm thinking that about midway through the fourth quarter, Cooper Kupp said, it's Apple time.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I'm just waiting for him to break down.
Yep.
And sure enough, I get applesauce
Yep.
all over my face. I mean, it's like, it's like the apple just exploded.
Yeah.
So I was with you. It's like, it's going to happen because this guy can't cover me.
But for you, it was because Eli Apple was out there, not because Matthew Stafford was out there.
Right. Precise. Especially, like I said, when he started yapping before the game.
Yeah.
If he has kept his mouth shut, But it's one of those guys, it's like, yeah, I can cover anybody until the game starts. And you just watch him break down. You just watch it.
Yeah.
If you know anything about that, you just watch it. It's like, it's like you go from this energetic teenager to this old guy that can't cover anybody. Yeah. So, I congratulated, you for the win, but I also, I mean, it's to me it was a foregone conclusion. It's like
the weird thing though is that Eli Apple until last year or until this had really good like advanced metrics. If you go look up the metrics on Eli Apple, they suggest he's a good corner. And it's like somebody told me that. I was like, I went and looked, and it's like percentage of targets and breakups when they have these advanced metrics, like when the ball is in the zone. Mike can help me if I'm getting the terminology wrong. When a pass is thrown into the target area, he's got really good advanced metrics. But then you watch on the field, and it seems like Cooper Kupp went back to the huddle and said, hey, Eli Apple is covering me right now. How about we go win the Super Bowl? How about we just win the Super Bowl, Matt? And him and Stafford said, okay, to hell with everybody else. Eli Apple was covering you? And Stafford's like, oh, damn, I didn't know that was Eli Apple. I didn't know that's who was covering me, right? And then they just took over the game. But quietly, if you go look at his advanced metrics, they suggest he's a really good corner. And you know what? He probably is, because he doesn't always cover the number one receiver on the other team. And your advanced metrics can skew when you're not covering. And it may be that he had good slot metrics. That's maybe what I was looking at. Metrics on guys who cover slot receivers or something like that. But I remember thinking Eli Apple was a bum, and then looking in the offseason at his advanced metrics and saying, oh, wow, maybe I had it wrong. But as you just pointed out, I was probably right.
Well, his metrics is what made him the 10th pick of the draft.
Right, exactly.
And so he's always had like those kind of things working for him. But when it transitions to the field, he just doesn't get it done.
Yeah. And my thing with him is he gets out of, and I'm not trying to go geek, although Mike might love this kind of stuff. I don't know. When the guy turns his hips, how quickly his hips turn. Like that's so huge for a defensive back because you're transitioning sometimes from a back pedal, right, or some kind of lateral movement into a more vertical where you got to pick your speed back up. It's kind of like the thing that Barry Sanders did better than any human being I've ever seen was go from running full speed, stopping and getting back to full speed, or going in one direction, moving just his hips and going in another direction, and he doesn't lose any of it. He doesn't do that well. When a receiver runs a good route and he turns his hips, he loses something, and you just see the separation. It's just boom, there's separation immediately. So I don't know what that's called exactly. It's got something to do with hip swivel. I forgot, but I don't think he's ever been good at that. I don't know how he measured out so great at the combine.
He can't. He doesn't measure well against top 15 receivers.
That's probably what it is.
Yeah.
So really, we're not bashing him, right? We're telling him he sucked because he. Oh yeah, okay, all right, because he's bad.
Well, no. But if you look at his past record, that's the reason why teams have gotten rid of him is because he hasn't gotten better.
Right. Yeah. I agree. That's the point. I think you just nailed it. He has not gotten better. I think the things he's probably struggled with as a rookie, he still struggles with now.
Right. And I mean, hey, I'm sure that his bank account reflects.
I don't think he's upset.
His
that
bank
guy
account
with the Colts hat in Sacramento was bashing my hip swivel. He's not really worried about it. He's not really worried.
No, because he gets paid according to his metrics, not according to his results.
His skills.
And those guys see him, and there are guys who. What was his name? It used to be a defensive lineman for the Lions years ago. His name was Robert Porcher. And he had this saying. He said, there are guys who look so good in practice, right? And coaches see them every day in practice, and they build up this opinion of them based on what they see them do in practice every day. And then when the lights are on, they don't bring it every Sunday. And I wonder if Eli Apple might not be one of those guys. He looks great in practice.
Well, Emmanuel Stewart used to say the same things about guys that they look good. They look good sparring. And they look good until the lights come on.
They're gym fighters. Guys who look great in the gym, right?
And it's sort of what you're speaking about, and your hip swivel is fine too, but. A lot. I mean, I think whatever you're comfortable with, but hip fluidity.
That's it. That's
also used too. So you're not wrong. It's just whatever.
That's the word. I knew I wasn't remembering the right word, but is this smoothness of moving your hips and going like and I'm telling you, I think Barry Sanders had the best of anybody ever.
Oh my God.
Right. But so that fluidity in your hips is critical when you're covering guys running routes.
Right.
And I think covering really exceptional players like Cooper Kupp is not Eli Apple's forte.
Right.
You put him on the third guy.
Now, and I'm going to back this up. I'm going to refer to your stats there, Demetrius. From the time the Rams scored in the second quarter until the fourth quarter drive, Matt Stafford had thrown 2 interceptions for less than 85 yards.
Yeah, he did.
And then the defensive.
I'm not going to let you do that. I'm not going to let you do that. I'll wait.
Okay. And then the defensive coordinator says, "Oh well, let's throw Eli on Cooper Kupp."
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, okay. As I said and will always say, Matt Stafford will give the defense opportunities.
Yeah, he did.
And I agreed with you. I don't have a problem with that. So I got two points.
Okay.
First, the interception. They were both meaningless. One was not his fault.
Yeah, they're meaningless because they won the game.
No. Well, yeah, exactly. I'm sorry. Absolutely. I'm not disagreeing. But one of them was a 3rd and 15 where he scrambled out and chucked it to the end zone. That was a glorified punt.
Yes,
if that's an incomplete pass, they're punting on the next play.
Yeah.
So impact to the game, negligible, in my opinion. The other hit the receiver's hands. Hit the receiver's hands. And my feeling is if you're an NFL receiver and the ball hits one of your hands, you should catch it 50% of the time. If it touches both your hands, you should catch it 100% of the time. You're an NFL receiver.
Your high school coach teaches you that if you got two hands on that ball and you don't bring it in,
right,
somebody else is coming
now,
in.
That being said, that was not a great pass. That pass.
Okay. I was gonna test you on that.
My head started shaking like, what the? No, that was not a good pass. That was not. But here's the more important thing. This is who Matthew Stafford is and has always been. And I will compare him to Jared Goff, saying right up front, I am fine with Jared Goff. I am a Jared Goff guy. I'm comfortable with Jared Goff as my quarterback. Matthew Stafford has a special right arm. And nobody knows that more than Matthew Stafford. So when he's on the field, he believes he can make any throw. I'm not saying he's right or wrong. I'm telling you what he believes. And because he believes that, he will try things that Jared Goff will never try. Because Jared Goff knows, I can't make that throw. Right? And Stafford, through his career as a Lion, threw a lot of interceptions where it was simply arm arrogance. I think Trent Dilfer might have made up that term or somebody like that. Arm arrogance. He tried stuff he should have never tried, but he was trying to win a game and he truly believed he could do it. He has always had arm arrogance and he's always had interceptions like that were a result of either I have Calvin and you don't, so I can try this and Calvin's going to bail me out 70% of the time anyway, or my arm's good enough to make this throw. And it wasn't. He didn't see the linebacker or whatever the case was.
Well,
I don't have a problem with either interception.
We had a guy named Brett Favre that was kind of like that, hey, I can make this throw, like there's 6 defenders. My name is Brett Favre, so.
And I'll take that dude. I'll take that guy. If his arm is that good that he believes it, I don't have a problem with that guy. I'll live with those 2 interceptions. I don't have a problem with Stafford's interceptions. I generally don't.
No, like I said, but as I said, he will give the defense opportunities.
Yes.
So
That's fair.
But go ahead, Mike.
No, I was completely agreeing with you. I think that is one of the, and it was never really been that bad until sort of the last couple of seasons where he's always had a great touchdown to interception ratio, but lately, you just can count on it. You just know sometime in this game he's going to throw a pick.
He's going to throw a Stafford. Yeah,
throw a Stafford. I like that.
That's what we call it.
Great.
Yeah, and you just hope it's not a pick 6 or something to that effect, because if it's that, then it's really bad. But you just live with it because like you said, Brett Favre, that he's going to make up for it somewhere down the line.
Exactly. And I think a lot of it is it's PTSD from his time as a Detroit Lion. He had to do that so often. He had to with the Lions, right? That he developed that characteristic, that arm arrogance, and it's never going away now. And his arm is that good, by the way. So
it is that good. Yeah.
It's actually that good.
And now that he's won a Super Bowl with it, it's
right. It's gonna get worse. It's gonna get worse now.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about the other side. No, the other side of the ball, because Aaron Donald. Okay, I mean, here's a guy as most great defensive lineman. You got 3 quarters, but in the 4th quarter, it's my time to shine. And there was nothing that Cincinnati Bengal defense could do. I mean, not saying that they were the best line in the, AFL anyway, but excuse me,
they would have been a good AFC. AFL line, maybe.
Maybe even UF. What's
USFL?
Maybe but it was a matter of time, and I don't know. It just seemed like in the 4th quarter, Joe Burrow's legs broke down on him, which is something that he depended upon in those overtime games. I mean, you could only, I know it's someone was saying, you can only call on the same thing. But anyway, right. It was just the time. And the one thing that I did see is even though he didn't win the MVP, he did come in second. And that's, maybe that's a blow at Matthew staff, whatever you want to say, because we did say that, hey, he might not end up being the best player on the field, but it's usually a quarterback that wins the MVP.
Right.
So it was kind of surprising to me to see 1-2 not be a quarterback.
Well, the 2 interceptions. That's about the 2 interceptions, though.
Well,
if he doesn't have those 2 interceptions, he probably gets the MVP.
But also thinking, and this is probably more like a Detroit fan, I'm going to get the sympathy vote here because it's 13 years, and
exactly.
So
exactly. I counted on that.
Okay, all right. So thoughts, guys.
I'll jump in. I wouldn't have had a problem with any one of the 3 of them. If it were me, shockingly, I would have given it to Aaron Donald. When I watch football games and I see one individual seem to influence the game so much more than anyone else, that's what it means. Now, winning time, the term they use, Cooper Kupp just took over the game. Now, to your point, it's a large part due to Eli Apple. But there was a point in time where Odell's out. I think he might have lost a tight end or somebody else went down. Maybe it was a running back. But it seemed like at some point Stafford and Kupp just said, it's us. And they did it. And Kupp scored 2 touchdowns, including the game winner. I don't know if you can give it to Stafford with the 2 picks, even though he had 3 touchdowns. If he's got 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, 290-something, it's Stafford's award. But I think that they don't like giving it to defensive guys. If I had a vote, I'd have given it to Aaron Donald. To me, Aaron Donald was the best player on the field all day. And most importantly, at winning time. The last 2 plays of the game was Aaron Donald's sheer will. He just said, I'm putting the ring on my finger and I will do whatever I have to do it. And those last 2 plays were all him. The tackle on that running play is so impressive because people don't realize they only needed 2 yards. The guy had a yard when Donald wrapped him up. And Aaron Donald had the smarts, the strength, the self-awareness to say, I've got to pull him back. I can't let him stretch the ball. So he wrapped his arm around him and pulled the guy back. And then he simply, no grown man should treat another grown man the way Aaron Donald treated the guard on the last play of the game. It's not fair. It's not even right, man. You owe that dude an apology, Aaron. You owe that kind of apology. But I didn't think Stafford was going to get it after the game because I knew the picks were going to hurt him. I'm fine with Kupp, but I would have given it to Aaron Donald.
I might have given it to Eli Apple, but go ahead. go ahead, Mike.
Just to highlight what Demetrius was saying, only 7 defensive players have been named MVP. Unfortunately, the first one was Chuck Howley, Dallas Cowboy linebacker, and he was the first player that was MVP on the losing team. And that losing team, the Cowboys, of course, lost to the Colts. So that's burned in my memory.
Yeah. Let's mention that again. The Colts beat the Cowboys.
And they still lost the MVP award.
Then it was years before anybody else did, right?
About
as far
Larry
as
Brown? Yeah, Larry Brown, maybe? No.
Or as far as
it's from Chuck Howley to the next defensive player. I feel like it was a long time.
No, not too long. Jake Scott won it for Miami.
Oh, you know what? I missed that one. You're right.
And then it went for about 7 years. Harvey Martin and Randy White won it together in Super Bowl 12, and then all the way down from Super Bowl 12 to Super Bowl. I don't know if you consider special teams that kind of same thing, but if you do 31 was Desmond Howard, and then but not until 35 Ray Lewis. Okay. So Super Bowl 12 to Super Bowl 35. Was the biggest drop from there.
Wow.
But
who would you have given it to, by the way?
Sunday. I agree. I think it's Kupp. it's just as you mentioned, Stafford's 2 interceptions. That was already unless he had like 5 touchdowns and 2 interceptions.
Right. Yeah, then you can still do it. Yeah.
And Aaron Donald. I mean, I think now that I'm thinking about it, I would have given to Aaron Donald over Cooper Kupp because Cooper Kupp didn't really have all that great of a game either. I mean, he had 2 touchdowns, but it wasn't like he was dominating in that game either. The only player that really dominated that whole entire game was Aaron Donald. So
he had 8 catches and he had 4 of them on the last drive.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So going into the last drive, he had like 4 catches. So
and then he got a break from the referee. They might not have even won that game. So
they had to make up for the face mask, didn't they?
Yeah, well, it was definitely a makeup. Like, good God. Talking about inconsistency, holy hell! Wow. I mean, and then were you going to make inconsistent at that time? Oh,
I know.
I mean, what was it? No penalties called until the third.
Yep.
The third.
Yeah, like the third quarter, the beginning of the third quarter. And then now you're going to and then that last drive with that touchdown drive. I mean that play shouldn't even. That flag that they called the holding on, that play shouldn't even happen because you had the majority of the offensive line false start that they didn't see.
Exactly.
And then they make the penalty on that holding call, which wasn't a holding call. And then they had like 2 more after that, I think it was. So.
And they missed 2 delay of games because they just don't look at the clock and they missed the face man. If I would be the worst official ever because at some point I'd be like, play it out. Play it out. Schoolyard rules, man. I ain't calling nothing. You'll somebody like Jack Tatum before I'm pulling out my flag.
Oh, right, exactly. And the thing is, okay,
come on, that's the guy that taught me the basics, man. What are you talking about? Al-equipped with PA. I mean,
that's the role model right there.
I'm telling you, George Atkinson. I mean, come on. These are guys that say what? There's a penalty. What is somebody dead?
Right.
What are you talking about?
What is this yellow piece of paper? What is this yellow cloth on the ground? I don't know what this means.
Because those were the good old days, but
I mean, they let everything go. I mean, you can even go back to the Super Bowl with Vikings and Jack Tatum almost killing the guy. I think that was a moderate shot.
Hey, at any other time, he would have been charged with assault.
Yeah, he should have been.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That's if you do that on the street, you're going to jail for 15 years.
You're going to jail.
Ask Kamar. Ask him.
Right. Yeah, you about to find out.
And there's a cornerback that just turned himself in too that was supposed to be involved in that. But
did you guys see that video? Is there a video of that? I haven't seen it.
I'm sure.
A video. I was like, I can't find it. I looked for a while. I was like, I don't even know if I want to see it, but I need to see it to form an opinion, right?
You're right. Exactly.
That's if we talk about it, I got to form an opinion.
Because it was the same thing with Ray Rice too. I'm like, I don't want to say anything on Ray Rice until I actually see what happens, and then I'm like,
you wish you never saw it.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't unsee that shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh no.
Hey guys, look. I got a great one since we're improvising, and we don't usually talk about this.
Freestyle.
Okay, all right. The Olympic Games. The Russian skater. Okay. That even though she didn't win a medal, but the excuse was perhaps I took my grandfather's heart medication.
Right. That was creative. That's creative.
Okay, that's creative. But do you remember the other young lady that got disqualified because she smoked a joint?
Yeah. That's a sprinter, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, really?
So
Come on.
International doping, right, is something that I have dabbled in, like studying it, and I've not figured it out, by the way. But from what I do understand, the list of banned substances is absurd. First of all, and that's not me trying to make excuses. Not for either of these cases. We're at a point with weed where I'm just tired of talking about it. If that's on a list somewhere, you're an idiot. Your sport is stupid. You got to let that one go, bro. That's just we're at a point where Stop it. I've never seen a study that shows me it enhances performance in any way. I'm still waiting for the study that says the dude who smoked a joint could run faster. Unless he was running to get a bag of Doritos. I don't know. I've never seen it. Right?
Well,
I don't get that one.
I can attest to the fact that I cannot tell time when the sports crib is on.
No, Bill can't tell time when the sports crib is on, right? Which is fine. I have a clock right there. I'm always aware of the time. I just don't care. I just don't care about that. When I'm kicking it with my guys talking sports, I don't care. I'll get up in the morning. I'll go to work. I'm fine. So I don't like. So the doping thing, the really big problem is so many drugs. A drug that could literally help you for a sinus infection, in theory, could help you recover from some athletic event faster. So in theory, it's performance enhancing. It's such a cloudy, muddy, unclear situation that there are literally some people who are actually just trying to take medication like you normally would. I have no reason to believe this girl took her grandfather. That was the stupid thing some adult told her to say. And she's 15. She ain't know any better. That's obviously what that is. This is about adults. 15-year-olds don't make that stupid a decision without an adult telling them to. And they damn sure don't come up with a dumbass excuse like that without some adult telling them. So right. I feel for this girl because I think she's getting horrible advice. She's getting horrible advice from somebody. And the 30 for 30 in 7 or 8 years will give us the true story. We'll hear everything that actually happened.
So, I get. Well, go ahead, Mike. What you think about that one?
Yeah, I agree with Demetrius. I think it's stupid that you don't have marijuana as a substance that's okay to take. I mean, we all know the scientific studies behind it. We all know what it is now, and there's no. I mean, if anything, it's going to prohibit you from,
Man, I don't really care about this race.
Right? Yeah, I'm just relaxing. I don't.
But the serious thing is, as both of you guys said, it's not a performance enhancer, but nobody's running past me on my way to the finish line either. Should I puff fast or what?
It just make everybody smoke weed. I think it's just so the anti-doping agency is structurally a mess. It's incredibly corrupt, by the way. But more than anything, they don't really have a clear understanding of how medications work in individuals separately. Like a 15-year-old figure skater could have a specific reaction to an antihistamine that a 25-year-old curler will not. And they don't have all that info. So they're just winging it, man. They're just like, they'll just use the term banned substance. And then we all think she's out there shooting horse tranquilizers or whatever. And she probably didn't take her grandfather's medicine. That was just dumb.
Yeah.
But it might have been something simple. And it may or may not have affected her ability to perform. The weed one is just dumb. I enjoy the weed one because it's funny. It's like marijuana is a performance-enhancing drug. Okay. I was born at night, but it wasn't last night. Yeah.
And also, this is another this is a great story as far as I'm concerned. Because we had the first Black speed skating gold medal as for a female athlete. Yeah. And it were it not for a teammate that gave her up her spot because she knew that this girl was better than her. Wow. We would have never seen this young lady in the Olympics. Yeah. Your thoughts on that, Demetrius?
Humanity is better than everything, right? I often talk about it. Like, sports is my thing for one reason. Like, I love the Lions. Sports transcends all nonsense. Mm-hmm. It transcends all nonsense. Like I said, Mike is here kicking it with us every Thursday, right? I told you guys a story about me being at the 1990 finals, Pistons, Portland, at the Palace, watching it on the screen because they were in Portland. And Vinnie Johnson hits a shot with less than a second left. And a grown man I don't know picked me up and hugged me like I was his child. Oh, that's right. So cool. Big white guy in some overalls. We didn't speak the whole game. I mean, we were like, yeah. He picked me up and hugged me, and I'm 6'4", 220. Wow. Picked me up like I was nothing, and we're hugging each other, and we're happy. And all the stuff that we deal with in life didn't matter because the Pistons just won the championship. So when you see humanity, someone who says, I'm going to do something that is strictly for you, doesn't benefit me. I'm giving up my Olympic dream because I know this is the right thing to do. Humanity is beautiful sometimes. And that should be the story. The winner is going to get her accolades, endorsements. I hope more people talk about the story of the teammate who gave up the spot, because that's the thing you want to teach your kids. That's the thing you want to teach your kids, right? And it's a beautiful thing. Yeah, and I hope that story gets more, acknowledged.
Yeah, I dig kind of deep sometimes when I'm looking at something like, that's kind of interesting.
That is, and that's what makes the crib, though.
Now, as I told everybody, I just came back from Dallas. Now you talk about people with their head in the sand.
I'm gonna let Mike have all the time on this one. I'm deferring all my time to Mike on this one.
Well, first I have to tell you a story, okay? Because I went to Dallas for a special reason. As I told you, back in Christmas I had went one time, and this time I went back to make sure that the person that had been my neighbor for over a decade was in a good place and so forth and so on, better than she was the last time. So I'm staying about 34 miles from Love Field, a lot closer to Fort Worth.
Yeah.
And usually when you go into a fairly large city, you see at least some segment of the homeless population. Okay. So I got to this place in the evening, after dinner time for the residents. So, I kind of snuck in under the radar. Okay. Now, you have to remember that these people are Texans.
Yeah.
And most of them are at least my age, if not older. So when they wake up in the morning and they see, me, black man.
You done snuck into the facility. Yeah, hell yeah, they're scared. He was creeping in the middle of the night. I'm interested in how the story ends. I'm already in. You breaking into a facility at night.
And most importantly, I do not work there.
They know that. Immediately.
So at first it was the morning kind of front reception person, do you have a visitor? Now this is an elderly white lady. Well, she's older than I am, but like I said, I've been a good friend since her husband died in 2014. But other than the people that work there, the people that in charge are people that do not look like me.
Right.
So, of course,
Did they put you in handcuffs or zip ties? I'm waiting for the handcuff or zip tie portion of the story.
No, but the interesting thing is that it was like stepping back into time, because you could see how, the first day they were kind of skeptical.
Yeah.
The second day they were kind of used to you.
Yeah.
But it was like this morning, it was like a sigh of relief.
Right. Hey, what time is your flight, bro? He remembered you in Texas. I'm in Texas. That's what you said, right? And they escorted you to the door.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if there was ever a reminder of how you can feel things in the air without them being said. I mean,
Yeah, but you're a black dude and you broke into the building, man. What are you? You can't just be breaking into facilities. This is racism. They treat me like I broke in here. No, you were in Texas. It's still Texas. At the end of the day, it's still Texas, right?
So, right, precisely.
Yeah.
But once again, no one talked about the Dallas executive that they just had to pay out $2.4 million
Right. We
to the
just beat that under the rug.
You know, it's like it was.
Yeah, exactly. What was that, harassment or what was that suit about? I forgot. Something like that.
This is Cowboy. He was a voyeur.
Oh yeah, voyeurism. That's voyeurism.
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
That's how we're doing it in Dallas.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, Michael Parsons thinks everybody should want to be with the Cowboys. Yeah.
As long as he doesn't haze anybody, we're all right.
Right, exactly.
But your thoughts, gentlemen. You know, we were talking about the hiring of executives. Now, at no time have they said that this man lost his job. It just said that they settled.
Oh, he still got his. Wow. I'm sorry. I assume.
That's what I'm saying. That's what there has been no acknowledgement that this executive has lost his job.
Wait, so this dude still got his job, and they escorted your black ass out of that facility this morning with like 4 dudes flanking you, right? sorry about that. Oh, that's after dark. We started late. I'm good.
Yeah, we're good.
He has to have lost his job, right? Don't we got to verify this?
Hey,
I'm stunned if this guy didn't lose his job. We can wait till next week.
Yeah, but as of now, like I said, the headlines are up on ESPN. But now, as I said, we were just talking about front offices and the power of being a part of the family, a part of the group. And it's not like $2.4 million is a lot of money to Dallas, to the organization itself. But
it's a statement, though. Unless you're paying it to a class action, if you're paying that to one person or a small group, 4 people. Four people. Yeah. Then you are admitting wrongdoing, whether you are or not. If you're cutting that check, something happened and you're acknowledging it. And if you think we're falling for the okie doke, it's all sealed and nobody's talking. Nah, we're smarter than that. We're smart. Mike went to Michigan, man. We're smarter than that. Yeah, we're smarter than that. We're not falling for that banana in the tailpipe nonsense.
Okay, now see, perfect segue. Banana in the tailpipe. The Packers hired one of Aaron Rodgers' favorite guys as a quarterback coach.
You nailed that, bro. You nailed that. That is banana in the tailpipe. Great segue. You nailed that. Wow. It's not going to work, is it, Mike?
I don't think so. I really don't. They might pretend that banana is like, I don't know, a kiwi fruit, but it's something a lot smaller, and still the car can operate. But I don't think that's going to work.
See, I feel like I'm not an expert on human behavior, but I watch a lot. I mean, I study. Like, I try and see and people, especially me, I'm probably the worst at this. I'm predictable as hell. You can kind of see a train with me, like what's coming. And last off season, this was it. We knew this. I mean, this would be a classic banana in the tailpipe if it works. Oh, you brought back Clement, I think is his name, Clemens or something like that. You brought him back. I'm gonna stay. That's not the point. That's not why he was trying to leave, right?
No,
that's not. At the end of the day, it's really, really simple. And I try and boil it down. Are you going to franchise Devontae? Yes or no? First piece of information he needs. If you're not franchising Devontae and you're letting him walk, it's a wrap. It's easy. He's gone, right? He $46.1 million on the cap. We can't pull that off. We can't pay Devontae 20.3. I'm close on the numbers, maybe not dead on, and pay him 46. Then guess what? Goodbye Zadarius. Goodbye Preston. Goodbye a list of guys, right? Because that's why this sport rules the world. They force you to make hard decisions. And Aaron Rodgers knew that a year ago. He said, I need you to let me out after this year And he knew, you're going to pay me 46. You're going to franchise Devontae. You're going to gut the team and we're going to suck. Or you're going to let Devontae walk and we're going to suck. Or me, Devontae, are going to walk and you'll be okay with the rest of those guys. He knew it. He knew it. Or somebody who works for him figured it out. He said the money just doesn't work. He's not as smart as he like to believe he is. He hosted Jeopardy and he thinks he's brilliant, but he's not. That suit he wore at the award show last week shows he's not very smart. Sorry, I can't get over the brown corduroy suit. I'm still salty a week later. I think he knew the position he was putting in.
I donated that suit. I don't know if you
right. You wore that suit in 73. You wore that suit to a club in 73.
I may have donated that suit.
I think you did. That was in one of your Goodwill bags back in 74. But I think that this is not going to trick him. He's not going to be, oh, okay. Yeah, it's all forgiven because you brought back my old quarterback coach. That's not how it works. That's not how petty, immature human beings work. If it does, I will get on these airwaves and credit the Packers for the best banana and the best tailpipe ever.
I think it has a lot to do with like setting up, like, okay, we'll buy your favorite, sofa and your favorite cushion, and they're trying to set it up and decorate it like it's going to be some, you feel at home, even though you're not at home, you're going to feel at home, and they're going to try everything impossible, but do what's necessary. And like you mentioned, it's not about anything else other than what he feels is a disrespect and feels that the Packers scorned him. And you can't just take that away, regardless of who you are. I mean, once you go there down that road, then it eventually comes to a head. And this year, because of money, it's that road. The road is now ending, and we'll see what happens. But it's going to be really hard to maintain both of those guys there. And I'm sure Aaron Rodgers is one of the first ones that wants out.
Yeah, and I think they're playing a PR game. They're playing the game so that when he goes, they can say, look, we did everything we could.
Yeah.
We brought back his quarterback coach, and we did all this stuff, and we told everybody we were all in. They're playing the PR game. I'm not mad at them for it. It's just like the definition of banana in the tailpipe. It's so obvious. Right. It's so obviously an okie doke. And I think his people know. His people see it.
Yeah, for sure. That's why I called it sort of like the kiwi, because they're gonna try to make it look like the banana.
Right. It wasn't a banana. We didn't put a banana in
and everybody knows it's not a banana.
Right.
So I think you nailed it. I think the organization is going to be like, well, we tried, fans. We tried everything we could, but we
could. Yeah. And they're not going to win, by the way. They're not going to win, and he knows that. His best chance to win is not in Green Bay. I don't think so. He can win this. He can win the North. He can win the North because we're still rebuilding, and the other two teams are starting a rebuild probably. He can win the North, but winning the North did nothing. He had a week off, and then he got his ass handed to him in San Francisco, or at home against San Francisco. Well, special teams lost the game, but the MVPs don't matter if you're home second week of the playoffs.
Right.
He needs to go somewhere where he can win. Yeah. He could go to Indy, and it's a wrap. Take a pay cut, go to Indy. You'll have a ring next year.
Oh yeah, cool. Yeah, for sure.
But as of this season, he's no better than Big Ben.
He's no better than Matthew Stafford. Ben's got 2 rings. Ben's got 2 rings.
No. Meaning that neither one of them made it past the first round of the playoffs.
Exactly.
It didn't matter.
It didn't matter. By the way, either one of your teams would be good landing spots for him. He goes to either one of you guys' teams. They're my favorite in the AFC.
There would be no doubt. But let's talk about another guy here, because I was kind of leaning toward this guy until the fourth quarter of the championship game against the Rams. And if I had been Deebo Samuels, we would have had to have a very strong talk in the woodshed after this game, because he completely fell apart in the fourth quarter. Completely. He was like, it was like it was his rookie season all over again. So after that particular debacle, I no longer wanted to see him in a Steeler uniform. But once again, we have a guy that's burying his head in the sand because one of the destinations that everyone is talking about is, will Jimmy G replace Carson Wentz?
Mm-hmm.
I heard that today. How do you feel about that, Mike?
No, there's nothing to talk about here.
Yeah. Mike already said it's a wash. It's a wash. He doesn't. I don't think he wants Garoppolo.
Yeah, I think that it's a pretty much wash because Wentz is more can run better and is more agile than Garoppolo. I mean, Garoppolo is not going to run for 50 yards or whatever. Wentz can. He can
get you to the championship game, Mike.
But would you take him in Pittsburgh? Would you take him in Pittsburgh?
I think he's great.
Didn't I just say that after the fourth quarter that I no longer wanted to see him in a Steeler uniform?
Somebody's going to take him.
I thought I made that abundantly clear.
You did. But then you questioned Mike saying he didn't want him.
No. I didn't question Mike saying that he wanted him. I questioned Mike because he kept telling me that there was nothing to talk about in Indianapolis. And now we have another subject, once again coming up. It's like, but it's kind of like the Cowboys. Hey, nothing to see here. It's like.
It might be true, though. Mike's not total ostrich here. He has legitimate reasons why Wentz didn't perform up to where we think he can. Injury, COVID. There were legitimate reasons. Wentz could play much better next year than he did this year. That's not hyperbole. That's not ostrich. There are reasons he could play better. So I don't think he's way out of line. I'm not a Jimmy G fan. I don't know what all the hubbub's about. I just don't. I wouldn't trade Jimmy G for Jared Goff. I have no problem with Jimmy G. I know the metrics don't agree with me. I'm just telling you I don't like Garoppolo.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's close to. I reacted probably a little strongly, but if I have to, you're not too bad. I mean, I think it's sort of the same thing as Garoppolo and Wentz is the same thing as Garoppolo and Goff.
They have significantly better receivers than we do. If we're going to get better at the wide receiver position this year, and you're going to see a better Jared Goff. We do not have an X. We don't have a guy that in the Wednesday meeting, the defense says, are we rolling a safety to that guy? Are we playing zone because of that guy? We don't have that guy on our roster. That guy doesn't exist in Detroit. We get that guy, whether it's the 32nd pick in the draft, whether it's Chris Godwin in free agency, we get that guy. Jared Goff's life, Hawkinson's life gets easier, Swift's life get easier, and Goff's life get easier. We don't have that guy. So,
and you already have a number 2. I think Amon-Ra is a
solid number 2.
Yeah, very good. And you get someone in the first pick, or were you guys second pick? Third
2.
pick?
Yeah. We're 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right now, my hope is to trade out, but they're 2 right now.
Oh, they're looking to trade?
I don't know if they are. I am. I am. There's a safety from Notre Dame that I love, and I think you can get him at 5 or 6. So if they can trade back, but I'm not trying to turn this into a draft podcast. Sorry, I could do that very quickly.
No, it's cool. I'm the one asking you questions. So.
Yeah. We have 2, 32, and 34. So you should have 3 quality players with those picks if you draft there. And we're in the top 6 or 7 in cap space. So we should be able to sign. I don't know if Godwin's the guy. I just threw out a name. We should be able to sign a receiver. I don't love, I think it's Michael Gallup or somebody that might be available, but I don't remember. There's a couple of receivers people are throwing around. I don't like any of them. I'd rather draft.
Okay, fair enough.
Wilson or Jameson Williams or somebody like that. So we'll see.
Let's stay on quarterbacks here for a minute because the Vikings have a new head coach, and he didn't really say that they were going to get rid of Kirk Cousins, but he didn't really say he was sold on Kirk Cousins. And I think that may be because of the cap hit that Kirk Cousins has on next year. Yeah. What you guys' thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it's unfortunate that whenever you talk about Kirk Cousins, you have to talk about his contract, right? You can't just have a conversation about Kirk Cousins that's just about his play, and it's kind of unfair. And even though
Do
he's,
you really want to talk about his play? When's the last time Kirk
no,
Cousins
I'm
made
not. I'm not. Kirk Cousins is a Spartan, and that's the only thing I like about him. I think he's
I knew
one of
there had
those.
to be something. Okay,
But that's barely holding on because the idiot won't get a shot, and I hate that more than anything. And he has been overpaid his whole career. I don't. As much as I love my green and white brethren, I don't know. It's good. I mean, it's good out of line, Mike. Kirk Cousins is a good quarterback, right?
Yeah, I think he's top 10.
I think to me this is simple. To answer your question directly, when you're a new coach and you love your quarterback, you say, "I love my quarterback." If you don't say that and you don't say anything else, you don't love your quarterback. Now, with Kirk Cousins, it might be like you said. I don't love the hit my quarterback has on my cap because you have to acknowledge that. It's a big number. And I don't know if his talent or his production matches the cap hit. And it's unfortunate because I don't know if I've ever had a conversation about Kirk Cousins where I didn't mention his contract. I can't ever remember doing that. So
it's a big one. I remember when they signed him. Yeah, I was like, okay, that's a lot of money. Yeah. Let's see what he
got 84 guaranteed. I just don't know how they spread it out. So I think that this might be when the number gets palatable though. One of these years that number is supposed to be okay. But here's my short answer. Minnesota will upgrade that position if they have opportunity. Aaron Rodgers not on the table. They're not trading him to the Central. I don't know if Russ wants to go to Minnesota. I think Minnesota gets into Deshaun Jackson. I did the same thing you did 2 weeks ago. They get into a conversation about Deshaun Watson. That's what I think.
So as far as his cap, if they cut him, and they have to eat all that money, it's a $45 million
can't
cap.
do it. Yeah, that's a number you can't do. You cripple your football team if you do
that. Especially since he's an unrestricted free agent next year. They're just not going to do it.
So now you can trade him and work out a deal where the receiving team can eat some portion of that money. I think it's about 25 or 26. Because with Rodgers, the receiving team would get to take 27 million on their cap. You're going to have to eat some of it. Now, is he worth getting rid of? Depends on what you get back. If you can move him to Houston in a Deshaun trade and they'll take 25 million of that cap hit,
right?
That's the conversation you're having.
Exactly.
It's Cousins and a bundle of draft picks for Deshaun Watson. Because Houston will need a quarterback unless they decide to draft one. And even
Davis Mills was pretty good. I like Davis Mills.
I like Davis Mills too. I didn't know that many people liked him. I like him. He could be their quarterback. They could compete. So I don't know how you want to do it, but I think they're going to do everything they can to get into a conversation around Deshaun Watson.
Sure. That makes sense.
Let's stay on quarterbacks because this is also the final year of Lamar Jackson's contract.
Yes, true.
What are the Ravens going to do on here?
I'll let Mike have that one.
And this one's tough because this is the thing I think about Lamar Jackson. I think he's very good for the NFL because he's very exciting, but he's just hasn't gotten better. I don't think he's gotten better. I think he's gotten worse. He got injured this year, so I won't hold this year against him. But he was struggling, and the last 3 games of last season, they were using cover 0 quite a bit on him, and he could not figure this thing out.
They figured him out. That's it.
Yep. And if he goes into this year and it's the same issue, he's done. There's no way they're going to pay him any money because he can't figure it out. And it's not like he's gotten better as a passer. So I wouldn't. It would have to be a pretty friendly deal for me to want him on my team. But you're also going to give a little bit if you're the owner. I'll give him a little bit just because I know he's going to draw in a lot of fans and he's going to bring a lot of revenue in. And so I'll be like, okay, well, I'll give him a little bit more than he's worth just because of that. But he doesn't have a long time. This is Jameis Winston territory now with the Buccaneers. And if he doesn't show it this year, then I think more and more people are realizing he's not the quarterback that he appeared to be, because he should have gotten better at that position, and he hasn't. And all he does is run. So, I mean, he makes some good throws, and he's not horrible, and he's not, someone that you're just like whatever. Jalen Hurts to me is that, but I wanted to see him get better. I wanted to see him take the traits that he has and improve on them, and just hasn't gotten there.
He nailed it. That's easy. I can be real quick because Mike covered it all. He nailed it perfectly. He hasn't gotten better as a passer, number one. He wants Dak Prescott money, and he hasn't earned Dak Prescott money.
Right.
But more than anything, the league has figured him out.
Yep.
The league has figured him out. Cover zero, force him to make decisions he's not comfortable making.
Yep.
That's it. That's where it is. And so somebody somewhere will sign him. He'll be in the league. I'm not signing him 7 years, whatever, hundreds of millions. He's not getting that because he's not the league didn't know how to play him when he won the MVP. They figured it out, and then he has not countered that, which basically means get better as a passer,
right?
Because that was the only counter. And now the league just says, fine, we're going to take away your ability to run and force you to make progressions of reads and make smart decisions with the football. And he has not demonstrated the ability to do that.
Yep.
I like him, but Mike's absolutely right.
And then when Tyler Huntley comes in and he performs better, I mean, he's not a better if you're comparing traits here, and we're comparing what Lamar Jackson has as football traits, and you having Tyler Huntley football traits. Lamar Jackson's football traits are a much higher level than Tyler Huntley is, but Tyler Huntley figured it out and played better than Lamar Jackson.
Right. When Tyler Huntley is in the game and they're playing the defense they designed to play against Lamar, he can do the things against that defense that Lamar has not demonstrated he can do.
Exactly.
Because a lot of it is in the head. A lot of it is thinking. You've got to see, first of all, when you walk to the line of scrimmage, you've got to see that they're trying to trick you. Mm-hmm. They're disguising things. And if you don't recognize, and at some point, if you don't recognize, you're going to make a bad decision with the football. You just are. Because you think you see one thing, or you think they're doing one thing and they're not. And too many of his interceptions go right to a defensive player. Like, I didn't see that guy there. Or I saw some all 22s where he has an average of 3 plays a game where he misses wide open receive. He doesn't understand what they're doing. And there's where he should go with the football is not where he goes. And it's unfortunate because I actually like him. I think but the league figured him out. They know what to do now. You disguise it and
things are no longer like, back when, you watch the cornerback to get your key, or you watch the running back to get those things. I mean, I just don't understand. But I'm glad you mentioned a yardstick here, Demetrius. Dak Prescott money.
Yeah.
Mike, does Dak Prescott deserve Dak Prescott money? No. Since this is the measurement, because now everybody's my next contract, I have to get this much money. Didn't contracts used to be based on performance?
No. When was that? No, it's never been based. It's based on how good your agent is and what the last guy got.
I don't know.
That's kind of how it works.
Well, LT might disagree with you. Reggie White might disagree with you.
Oh, no. I'm sorry. So let me clarify my statement. There are guys who got huge contracts because they earned them, right? Because they earned them. They weren't quarterbacks. They were not quarterbacks. Quarterbacks get paid. It's a timing thing. There was a time where Matthew Stafford was the highest paid quarterback in the National Football League. I remember the headline in the Detroit Free Press. And I joked with someone, that's going to last a week or whatever it was, because I believe the guy in Atlanta, Matt Ryan, was coming up. I think Andrew Luck? No, a couple other guys were coming up. Maybe it was Russ. I said, that's fine. There's 3 other guys coming up this summer. He will get to hold that title belt for a week and a half. And bing, bang, boom, it was over. It's about timing. Who was the last guy who got the big deal? Your agent is going to benchmark that last guy and say, now there are exceptions. Mahomes is an exception. Nobody's getting Mahomes money because that's some sick $500 million nonsense.
You're right.
But for the most part, it's just about where you slot it. If you're the next guy, and you're going to sign that 6-year deal with X amount guaranteed, that's what it is. And Dak was Dak's turn. It was Dak's turn in the rotation. Somebody else is going to pass him, right? It's fine. Josh Allen's going to come up at some point, and then he'll be the highest paid guy, or not highest. Mahomes will hold that for a while. But it's quarterbacks are much more in potential than actual productivity, in my opinion. Somebody's going to give Kyler a ton of money.
Oh, I just wanted to ask you about that.
Yeah.
Did you know that Kyler is a Cardinal again?
Oh, did he fix his social media?
and apologized.
Oh, so that was a John Carlos Tommy Smith. That's what that was, right? That was a statement. That was just a statement. Okay,
pretty much.
All right. Well, these young kids these days, that's how they communicate.
Social media.
Exactly. So getting back to the Super Bowl here now, the Rams have lost their offensive coordinator. And I'm also looking here, and it seems that they've also lost. Who is this? Someone else got a job. Was it their defensive coordinator with the Broncos? Yeah.
On their coaching staff, right?
Yeah. So
was he a position coach who got promoted to Broncos coordinator, or
you got? Let's see. It was Evero.
Yeah, I did hear about that. Yeah.
So let's talk about these two teams. Of course, Aaron Donald says, "Hey, we can go back and do this over again." But then Tom Brady said the same thing. Almost got there, but it seems like it was once that team that took him out of the place. Now, of course, everyone knows I only back the Bengals, or the Bungles, as I call them, and now they're really good. They'll be the Bungles for the rest of my life. Right? Oh yeah. Now, if they won 5 Super Bowls, they'd still be the Cincinnati Bungles. Doesn't matter. But anyway, knowing the AFC, even though they might be the next 2 or 3-time division AFC North championship teams, I do not think that they'll get back to the Super Bowl. Maybe for another 44 years? Since 1988, something like that. Somewhere when I was a pup, so I might have been, But anyway, so as far as I'm concerned, along with all of the Queen City boxers, they will all be, no, not even recyclable. No, straight to the garbage can. Boom, boom. Wow. Okay.
Wow, you took the team that just lost 4 days ago in the Super Bowl and dumped them in the trash.
Yes,
that's what I heard, right?
Yeah, for at least. And you guys could, you could hold me this. Like I said, crow is almost my favorite meal now.
Right.
But at least
side dish.
But at least for the next half of a decade.
Oh God!
Wow!
Oh my God! Okay, you couldn't be more wrong. I agree with a lot of stuff you say. Okay. There's an occasion where I just go, I don't agree with them.
Okay, well,
I don't know if you've ever said. I've been on the crib for a year now.
I want you to disagree with me so that 5 years from now, and I'll remember it because I'll be 80. I'll remember it. Believe me,
exactly. And you will point it out to me.
Yes, I will. And I was, and I will say,
remember when I said,
and I will say, this is Super Bowl 61.
Yeah.
And the Bungles still on that back.
Okay, so anyway, the statement is they won't go to the Super Bowl in the next 5 years.
Right. Then
okay.
Super Bowl.
All right. I'm sorry. I thought you were like The trash can to me suggested they're about to go back to the basement of the North.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
That's
no,
what
no,
I'm
no,
thinking.
no.
So you're not crazy. You're not way out of line.
No,
All right.
I specifically said
Yeah.
that they will win the AFC North
Yeah.
championship. I specifically said that.
Yeah.
That they will that they will win that again. But the chances of them going back to a Super Bowl within the next 5, as far as I'm concerned, are slim to none.
I still disagree. I still disagree, though.
I think I'll see gas prices back at 29 cents a gallon before I see them back in the Super Bowl. Wow. But go ahead. But go ahead.
You mind if I start, Mike?
Yeah, no, go for it. Yeah.
All right. So here's the problem with your logic. Stats, as I always tell you, I work in quality. You know I'm a stats guy. Statistic will tell you 56 Super Bowls. So that is 112 quarterbacks. I would suggest to you that of those 112 quarterbacks that have appeared in the Super Bowl, obviously many of them have been there multiple times, but 112 appearances, I would suggest to you that 100 of those dudes are in the Hall of Fame or going to the Hall of Fame. They've got the quarterback, is my point. They've got their quarterback. Now, we all know the obvious. Fix your offensive line or this kid's going to get killed, and it's going to be a sad press conference like Mike had to watch about 3 years ago. And that's unfortunate. We don't want to see, because Andrew Luck loves football and he didn't want to retire. Right. But the reality was he took a beat down. Right? Fix your offensive line, Cincinnati, and you've got cap space and you've got draft capital. They've got the receiver. They're relatively young. Joe Mixon's not. Man, Joe Mixon might need to be replaced soon. He's hitting that tread count on the running backs. Right. But my point is, they've got the quarterback. The thing we've never had, you got to get the quarterback. And then we didn't put anything around Stafford. Look at the number. Look at the numbers. It's Steve Young. It's Aikman. It's Peyton. Quarterbacks get to the Super Bowl. Great quarterbacks get to the Super Bowl, and I think they have a great quarterback. If they fix the offensive line, I don't see any reason they can't compete for in the next couple of years. Now that requires them to be smart with their draft. And I'm saying the next couple of years because the window is Burrow's rookie deal. After Burrow's rookie deal ends and they have to pay him, right, all bets are off. But in the window, that is what? So it's 3 more years, right? 2 more years and they'll probably extend them. So they might only have 2 years. But while Burrow is making rookie money. But I'm not even taking 5. I don't think 5 is realistic. At some point, they're going to have to pay Joe Burrow. That's going to be a huge number. Their entire roster structure changes because of the cap number. Joe Burrow becomes 2 years from now. They got 2 more years before they have to extend him. They could go 3 and then franchise him, but that's the window. I agree with you that after that, now you got to pay him because he's not married to a supermodel like Tom Brady who's going to subsidize the cap and let him take less money. Yeah, you're going to pay Joe Burrow at some point. In the 2 years, maybe 3 that you have him on his rookie deal, if they use their money and their draft capital wisely and address their offensive line, I don't see any reason why they can't compete because they got the quarterback. Joe Burrow's that good, assuming he stays healthy, right? So I think they still have the window with the quarterback.
Okay, now, Mike, before you answer that, I'm going to just throw 3 names out here. Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, and someone said that you were only 1 player away from being a Super Bowl contender yourself. Right. So that's 3 teams that we can put at or with the Bungles. Sure. So go ahead. You tell me why they'll make it back within the next 3 to 5 years. None of these guys are going to get any good. None of them are going to get any better. They beat Mahomes. All right. You're right. Mike.
Well, I think I agree with you. I actually said that Joe Burrow could be the next Dan Marino, where you have a quarterback that Marino, I think, was his 2nd year, I believe, too, and never saw the Super Bowl again. Joe Burrow, 2nd year and may never see the Super Bowl again. So And not only that, as you're talking about the team, it's just really tough. They even make back-to-back Super Bowls alone in this day and age where everything is pretty much even. So I don't disagree with you. I thought that you were talking about them not making the playoffs, and then I was just
no. I never
that
said
doesn't
they
even
would
make
make the
sense.
playoffs. You know, I even gave them the honor of giving the AFC North championship.
Yeah, I missed that. So
he didn't mean it. He didn't mean it anyway. So don't worry about it.
No, I didn't mean it, but I at least gave I at least gave
You
the
gave him the
benefit of the
opportunity.
doubt. Yeah, I mean, but I mean, hey, Tyrod, Tyrod and the Ravens might, come around there in that third year. Who knows? So, but but
that offensive
good.
line needs a lot more work for them for me to even believe that they have. They shouldn't even make the playoffs really, statistically wise this year. They were the 4th seed, and I think they had a good run at the end and beat a couple teams that they probably shouldn't have had. And I think if they play Kansas City twice, or 3 times, they lose 2 of those. It was just a really good run for them, but they have a long road for me to even think that they can be in the AFC Championship again.
Now go ahead, Demetrius. You can rebut us now.
No, I'm not going to rebut because I think you're right, and all of this hinges on them fixing the line. I agree they had no business being there this year, right? And I would say to you right now, I believe Josh Allen and the Bills. I believe in Mahomes and Kansas City. I like Justin Herbert and where the Chargers are going. Yeah. And if Aaron Charles Rodgers goes to Denver, and they don't get gutted, they're good. And if the Colts get Russell or a decent quarterback, they're probably 6th in the conference for me. So I'm not saying you're dead wrong. Like Mike, I thought you meant they were just going to suck. I don't think they're going to suck because they got the quarterback, but they still have work to do. I actually think if you guys get a quarterback, they're not going to win the North. So yeah, you're not way off. I do believe if they handle their cap space and their draft capital right and build their offensive line, they have the ability to be in the mix. I'll use the term in the mix. But right now, if you wanted me to rank the AFC, they're probably 6th for me right now. Yeah. So I don't horribly disagree with you.
Right.
And now let's talk about the Rams. But first, let's talk about OBJ and his injury. Not just the impact it had on the Super Bowl, but he's going into free agency. We thought this was going to be the platform for him getting that big paycheck, for him getting on that big stage. Now we found out that he has a torn, was it ACL?
Yep.
So what's next for OBJ?
I think the Rams will sign him to a 1-year contract. He should be back maybe like week 3 or week 4 of next season.
But isn't this his second one, or?
Oh, probably. I would imagine he's done this before. And he's probably one of the reasons why he's slowed down too. And he's getting older. He's definitely not the deep receiver he was in New York. He's definitely intermediate kind of guy, and maybe now going down to short to intermediate, depending on that ACL injury. But he was very, very important cog to that Rams offense. So they'll probably give him 1 year, and he'll be back week 3. And ACL injuries don't really affect players that are wide receivers or quarterbacks as much as it does running backs, because they don't really rely on the cuts and the turns and those kind of things as sharp as running backs really need them to be. So I think the only thing that might make it longer is his age. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, it's really time to have it.
Who's the young wide receiver that the Rams had on IR that they just drafted really high on?
The rookie was Scournick. He's the one that didn't catch the ball. That
he played.
Yeah, he came in for him and replaced him.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's giving OBJ 5 years and 80 million. That's not happening. No. I think Mike nailed it. The right business move for the Rams and for OBJ, 1 year. come back, get healthy, show you can play, and then you can get. I mean, he's not making 18. The going rate is Devontae's going to sign for 20. He's not getting 20 million a year from anyone. He's not getting 18, right? He's going to settle in and get somebody. The Rams will give him 13 and a half on a 1-year deal. And then what you're going to see is he's going to finish his career on these 1-year deals where he's making 12, 13. And that's not a bad way of living.
No.
If he gets comfortable with the Rams, no, it's not, right? I'll take 1 year.
I'll take the interest. I'm good.
I'll take the interest, exactly. So I think he's fine. But the idea, the age and the multiple ACLs, nobody's giving him 4 years. No matter what the number is. You're not going to get him for 4 years. That's not how NFL life works anymore. At his age, the tread on his tire, it's his knee, right? So he's going to have to find a right team where he's the secondary option, fits in there. And guess what? He's there. It's the Rams. Safeties are going to roll the cup. He's going to have man coverage against the Eli Apples of the world. And he should sign that 12, 13 million and play well and then, do that kind of thing. So
something that I forgot. I guess, should I be looking at the time or we just...
Oh, I'm good. Yeah, okay. I'm winging it.
Okay. So let's go backwards here a minute because there's a team that we didn't talk about that also needs a quarterback. And especially with Tom Brady retiring, what happens to the Saints?
Maybe Tom Brady will go to the Saints.
So here's the thing, though. Teddy Bridgewater's got to go somewhere when Aaron Rodgers goes to Denver. Right? Jameis is the answer to your question. Sorry. Jameis is probably the answer to your question. I don't know. I don't actually know.
They'll have to resign him, though. I know. So I don't know if they have the – he's going to have to take he might take another year just because he got injured.
I mean, Kirk Cousins is probably going to end up going somewhere. Somebody's going to trade for Deshaun Watson. There's going to be a lot of quarterback movement.
Gentlemen, the Saints have heard of the cap space, just in case you didn't know it.
Well, everybody can do these restructures and create.
Can they afford me? I mean,
You're right. Yeah, that's a good point.
Every team in the league except Green Bay can do a restructure and create cap space. I saw this a couple of days ago. So Saints can create space if they need it, when they need it. Now, we all agreed, though, a month ago when Sean Payton bailed, they're about to experience hard times, right? I don't we think that their cap situation and the defensive side of the football in particular is kind of dicey right now, and they're going to struggle?
Oh yeah, I mean, I think they'll struggle regardless. They want to bring Michael Thomas back, but I mean, they don't have anybody. Alvin Kamara is hurt. He's all right. I mean, so if you can have
he's going to be in jail. He's going to be in jail anyway.
Yeah, and he might. Yeah, exactly.
He's going to be in the clink.
At least suspended. Yeah. At least
he's going to be in the clink.
Yeah, he won't be in a Saints uniform, unless it's a Saints parish, correction. But anyway,
correction over that. If I'm the Saints, it's time for a rebuild. I'm sorry. It's going to be a tough pill to swallow. I think it's time for you to just recognize we got to gut this.
Exactly, because they don't have anybody. Who are the wide receivers?
There's nothing sustainable there. You don't have a quarterback.
Yeah,
Alvin literally might be in jail. We're just kind of joking. Alvin Kamara might be.
Yeah. There's
I was in Las Vegas that weekend. No, we are not. If you see, I don't know how come you didn't see the footage because the footage is definitely out there.
I heard it was out there, but I haven't seen it. I haven't looked hard. I'll find it.
Look, the last time I seen that many stomps was probably in the Greek show. I'm sure you know what I mean. But
dudes with red and white, red and white suits, flipping their head. I know
okay. All right. If you belong to a black fraternity, you know what I'm talking about. I had a house full of cute roommates, so you can imagine how
absolutely.
Yeah, I guess it reflects in my personality too. But anyway,
that sounds like a bad situation. I wouldn't count on Kamara. I wouldn't count on him playing at all. But mostly, if I'm the new GM, I don't know if he's new. If I'm the GM there or the new coach, and I step into that, my first thought is hot mess, probably.
Yeah.
Right. Right. And then you probably have to come to the realization that we're going to need to redo this whole thing. And then this is where you see if Michael Thomas is in trade value. Call Allen Park, Michigan. Michael Thomas is on a big contract though. He signed before he got hurt. Yeah, no thanks. I would love Michael Thomas circa 2018 though. That'd be nice.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. 160 receptions.
Exactly.
Yeah, I believe the next time we see Kamara on Sunday is if they redo the longest yard. But,
right.
Ooh.
Yeah. It's gonna be through a glass, through a piece of glass.
yeah. It's,
I mean, it's a messed up situation. Some dude took a serious beat down there.
Oh yeah, they broke his orbital socket.
Right? Like, the decision making. We could do a podcast on bad decision making. Whatever went down, my guess is it was about one of two things: a woman or money. Because that's usually what dudes fight about. Right?
Usually, I would say a woman and alcohol.
Alcohol might have been involved. Yeah.
And unless you are in the penthouse, there's usually not a private elevator available to you in the casino of Las Vegas. Usually, I mean, it just so happened to be at the casino where Lil Wayne appeared. So it was the situation. Like I said, and there's no way that you can make logic of it when after it becomes an overwhelming number of big beefy guys against so-called ordinary citizens,
a regular dude.
So that part is over with. But
that's why I just think I'll be quick. I think everybody, including us, and I hope you guys have this, you need somebody in your life, right? You need, and maybe it's a friend. For me, it's I have a friend, I have a brother who when they look at you and say, hey, no, we don't get down like that. You listen 100% of the time. You need somebody in your life who will say, you, Alvin Kamara, cannot stomp this man 8 times. You are Alvin Kamara. No, you don't get to do that.
It was actually a member of his entourage that decided that he wanted to dance at that particular
this
time.
elevator ride is not worth what it's going to cost you. It's a cost benefit analysis, man. It's not that hard.
And you can say what you want, but I'll guarantee you, if they had passed the blunt around,
everybody would have been fine. It would have all been good, right? Mountain Dew and Doritos for everybody. As long as you got the Mountain Dew and the Doritos, all good.
Maybe you got in a food fight. I mean,
right. You're fighting over Cool Ranch versus spicy nacho. Right? I've done a flat out Doritos commercial all night on the SPORTSKRIB. I'm plugging them big time.
I know. We needed to write to him for sponsorship.
Exactly.
But getting back to the other side of the ball, the Rams. Now, I've criticized your Mr. Stafford quite a bit, and I'm not going to take it back.
Of course not.
But I do kind of agree. As long as they had this guy on the team, and they can build around him, because you could always, I'm sure you could bring, as long as you bring him back, you can bring Von Miller back. And you can bring back some of the other veterans. So I do agree with Aaron that it's possible, especially if you no longer have Aaron in the conference. And you have Trey Lawrence coming up as the starting quarterback of the 49ers, you still have Kirk Cousins over in Minnesota. So I kind of agree that it's if the Rams were going to do it, this would be the time.
Yes.
What's your thoughts on that? Whereas I don't see Cincinnati in the next half of a decade that I'll stand by, I do see it's possible for the Rams to get back.
Similar concept, different reason. They have a window, right? Assuming Aaron Donald doesn't retire, Jalen Ramsey has a window. Still top 3 or 4 corner, Mike? I don't know. Maybe still the best.
Sure.
I don't know.
Yeah.
No, not the best.
Didn't play particularly well on Sunday.
He
by
didn't.
the way.
He didn't.
Right.
No.
But he's
I'd put him in top
Sure.
5, definitely top 5.
Okay. He's got a window. He's at some point, and my feeling is corners fall suddenly. One day he's just not going to be Jalen Ramsey anymore, right?
Right.
One
day those hips don't move. You're right.
So
and
Donald has a window. Stafford has a window.
Yeah.
I think Ramsey has a window. Von Miller probably has the shortest window. Well, I don't know. Von Miller doesn't. He still seems to get it done, but they all have a window. So same thing.
Sure.
It's 1 or 2 years, and then you're going to need to redo that whole thing. Different reason. It's just those guys are at the end of a window. It's not contract related. Although Stafford probably will be fine. I think they can work money out with all those guys if they still have a chance to win. I think they have a legitimate shot next year. I don't think the NFC is particularly strong. So I mean, Tampa's obviously going to fall off. Green Bay is almost certainly going to fall off, right? So I don't know where the power is. If you love Trey Lance, do you think San Francisco's still going to be there because of their defense? Maybe. I don't know if they're not if everybody comes back, I don't know how they're not the favorites in NFC. So they certainly have a 1-year window. They might even have a 2nd year, but there's a window and it's going to close. It's probably no more than 2 years. I think next year they can get back there. Now, I don't know that they beat Kansas City. I don't know if they beat Buffalo. I don't know if they
I didn't say that they win. I just said
Okay.
they get back. That
Sure.
they get back to the NFC.
If they bring everybody back and Aaron Rodgers leaves Green Bay, they're my favorite in the NFC. They were my favorite last year. So yeah, they'd be my favorite again if they bring everybody back.
What are you thinking, Mike?
Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing. It's a very I would put the more window open on the Bengals than I am for the Rams right now. They really pushed every chip in to win it this year. Yeah. So they were going to have everybody come back. All the important pieces come back this year for them to make a dent. And so can they do that? Yeah, I think so. But after this year after next year, but that's when the team is going to start to splinter off just because they traded their picks to the Lions. I don't know what they have as far as the draft, but it's all like salary cap too. It's just not made. It's not sustained to last more than 2 years, if not just this year alone.
Yeah. We have to talk about the parade. Of course,
Snap Stafford. Oh my God.
People. It seems we didn't have another Gronk, but we had some very entertaining moments, as well as some sober ones with the accident with the photographer, which Aaron Donald's family and the Rams offered to pay for whatever happened to him during the fall. I'm not exactly sure about they decided whose fault or anything like that. But what'd you think about some of well, we talked a little bit about Aaron Donald running it back, but Matt, you talked about Matt and his feelings. What did you think about some of the parade sequences there and the remarks?
Honestly, I didn't watch it all that much. I know that Matt Stafford was like drunk as a skunk, and I know that photographer failed, and I don't know who decided that was a good idea to have that kind of arrangement, because that's a lawsuit waiting to happen. But yeah, and he's just like, she falls and he's just like, oh, okay. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
His wife had more common sense than he did about the whole thing.
God.
And yeah, it was very interesting.
And they talked about Tom when he threw the trophy, back and forth to the. I mean, come on, this is your guy. This is your guy here, Demetrius.
So
is he the new candidate for AA or what?
So here's the thing, man. It's like,
oh, see, whenever you start out with, here's the thing, it's
no, you're right. You're right. No, it's here's the thing. You're absolutely right. I got nothing. Here's the thing. I got nothing. That's what I was about to say. I think alcohol is just the thing. It's the neutralizer. It common sense out the window. Judgment, nope. Good decision making, nope. I shouldn't be drinking tequila or whatever the hell he did. Now I got to point out a couple things I just find funny. When he played in Detroit, I never heard him use the word y'all. Like country bumpkin Matt Stafford. I'm loving this dude. I am loving country Matt Stafford. He was polished up here. And now he's just like, he's got a drawl. He's slurring his words. I mean, I embraced him anyway. Other Detroit Lions fans would have embraced him if we would have saw this dude. Like, all he needs was some chew, and he would be straight out of a NASCAR magazine, right? All seriousness about the fall, like, there's a thing called optics, right? If you're not in that moment, I don't know if he knew how far she fell. That's my opinion. I think he thought, oh, she just took a tumble. She's fine. Kelly immediately is like, oh, shit. This is a problem.
Yeah.
He was drunk. He's celebrating it. He's so unaware of what's going on right there. And guess what? That's kind of Kelly's job, right? Yo, hey, knucklehead, wake up. You just fell. And the optics were so horrible, but I know this dude. I know who this dude is. You're not going to sell me on this incident. Because he couldn't. What was he supposed to do? Dive down after her? I don't know what he was supposed to do. Right? But I know who this dude is. You're not going to sell me.
Maybe take one less drink.
No, this dude's been waiting 14 years. What are you talking about? No. You're not going to sell me that Matt Stafford's a bad guy based on this. I got too much data that suggests that that's wrong. Right? Yeah, this was a bad moment, and the optics were horrible.
They're really bad.
Wow, the optics were bad.
And that's one of the reasons why they're paying for a lot of the.
Of course.
But yeah, to judge his character off of this
that's crazy. It's crazy. I got too many data points to show you that he's a way better. And I don't like to make excuses. Oh, he was drunk. But the truth is, like I said, your reflexes aren't good when you're not even aware. Your decision-making filters. Alcohol is not a joke. And I'm telling you, that dude was hammered.
Oh, he was so hammered.
That dude was hammered.
I mean, yeah, I hate to see people getting hurt, but it was hilarious. I mean, his whole reaction to it was...
At one point, he was talking, and I think he tried to say something about Southern hospitality, but it all came out as one long... And I was like, wow. Because this guy, the guy we had in Detroit. We had serious, really deliberate answers. Really, he thought about everything he said. Like country bumpkin Matt Stafford is a baller. I like that. I wish we would have got that. He can come back to Detroit with that.
Let's talk about the audience. Even though Mike labeled it as boring, we had 112.3 million views.
About right.
It's pretty good for a boring game. But then again, Mike, it could have been the COVID. Could have been the Pepsi halftime show too. But I mean, I'm just saying.
You called it the Pepsi. You're sticking with this guy called the Pepsi halftime.
Hey man, look. There was a point in my life when I used to drink 8 liters of Pepsi a day. Okay. So if there was anyone that you could call a Pepsi fan, it's me. Okay. There's a lot of people that prefer Coke, but I prefer Pepsi. And Pepsi, to me, has had the best halftime shows within the last 15 years. as compared to the Coke shows or the regular halftime. I mean, trust me, Pepsi was not Bruno Mars. But anyway,
I like Bruno Mars.
Unprovoked Bruno Mars attack. Wow.
Well, okay. All right. Well, wait a minute. Hold on.
Halftime show.
Hold on. You have one choice, Mike. This year's halftime show or the Bruno Mars halftime show. Now, the only one that I might pick close to this one would be the Black Eyed Peas. But go ahead.
I think I'm gonna go Bruno Mars. I just like Bruno Mars better. I thought the show itself, right? The show itself was really good.
Name the second act.
Huh?
It was a while ago. It was a while ago.
Yeah, but he remembers Bruno Mars. Can you when you remember this show?
Yeah.
You're not going to remember Dr. Dre also with Snoop Dogg? If you want to make it now the act that you if there was an act that you might forget, it would probably be 50 Cent.
Yeah, I didn't care for that situation.
He prefers Batman 50 now.
But I'm sure that when you remember this show, you could, off the top of your head, remember at least 3 acts. Name me 2 off the Bruno Mars show.
Well, I thought the whole thing was really good.
No, okay. I think neither one of you guys is wrong. So I think Bruno was a good show. He's not in my top 5. Prince in the Rain was fantastic, by the way. But
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'll be quick. The production value is what you're talking about. The production value of this show might be tops. They had from the dancers and the stage, it's skyline of LA, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
The production value of that show was phenomenal.
Yes.
Prince's was pretty good, got ruined by a rainstorm.
Right.
And I think Katy Perry or somebody did one that wasn't necessarily my music, but it was a phenomenal show. And J-Lo and Shakira, because it was J-Lo and Shakira.
Yeah. Right.
They're in the top 5 on principle. So.
And then I think as far as production value, yes, I agree. I think this year's was definitely better than Bruno Mars. But I like Bruno Mars music. But the show itself, I'm a really big fan of Jackie Wilson, and it just sort of brought me back to that sort of parallel point of listening to Jackie Wilson and listening to Bruno Mars, and it was I don't know, I just really enjoyed it.
No, that's fair. You like his music, then it makes sense. Like to me, the production value, the music of this kid, The Weeknd, I could have took a nap. I wish somebody
I didn't even watch that.
I would have took a nap.
Yeah.
That's not for me. I didn't like the mirrors. I didn't like any of that. I didn't like any of that show.
Right. I didn't like it.
Whereas I think Prince is probably one of the greatest performers of all time. Prince could carry
Michael Jackson one was really good too.
Exactly. Mike's probably number 1, but I'm a Mike slappy.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I could probably say that of my generation, there's not a lot of people that would agree with me because, if you remember, and I'm sure you do, Demetrius, Maxine Waters and other different, people talking about the lyrics, but once again, people my age that closed mind, but anyway.
Yeah. You have to separate that. I'm tired. Yeah. Sorry. I will watch Snoop Dogg Crip Walk any day. And twice on Sunday. On Sunday. Sorry.
Rather than go to an Al B. Shore review.
Right.
Out here in between LA and San Diego, I can go see Tito Jackson on any given weekend. I can probably go see Al B. Shore or some a different. There's so many old throwbacks.
New Edition is touring, by the way.
Yeah. See, New Edition.
New Edition is touring.
Oh man.
Yeah. They're in Chicago, March 5th, Detroit, March 6th.
Yeah. See, and when you look at all the commercials that we have nowadays, most of them are old throwback songs. I mean,
Mhm.
songs that from my era, even
Yep.
I mean, so. But well, guys, let's get our final thoughts in. It's been a kind of fun winging it, man.
Yeah, we should do this like once a month, man. We should just wing it, no script. Like
yeah, hey, and we can definitely call it Cribbing After Dark, just swinging
yes.
it. There you go.
There you go. I like it. I like it.
All right. Well, we can look forward to that. That'll give us something to look forward to, since we won't have football to talk about,
Yeah.
except for on very like you said, Mike, during the combine, and it also be
USFL kicking
Yeah.
off.
yeah.
So Michigan
USFL,
Panthers.
Michigan Panthers.
They're
Hell
back,
yeah.
baby.
Yep.
Okay, all right. Well,
Michigan's
hey,
only football championship in the last 60 years.
well, hey, let's see. How many years did I say since Super Bowl? Since 1988, 2000. So by that it should be what 2104
For the Bengals?
before the Bengals get back to the Super Bowl. I mean,
A long
that's
We'll
just a rough
do
count.
Cribbing After Dark and talk about it.
Well, hey, I got 26 years left, guys. So if y'all down, I'm here.
I'm here. 26 years old. Yeah.
I dashed from the airport to get here.
So hey, y'all listening out there, hey, make sure tune in. We got 26 more years to go at least,
yeah.
and then then maybe Demetrius will take it over, or maybe
I'll take it over in 26 years. When the Lions win their first Super Bowl. I'll take it.
All right, guys, let's have some final thoughts there, man, on whether they be on the Super Bowl and next season, both, or however you want to do it, man. Let's have it.
I'll kick it off since Mike went mute. Mine is, despite my picks last fall, I love the game of baseball. I do. I consider myself a fan. I talk frequently about the summer of 1984, what it meant to my childhood and my life, how the Detroit Tigers captured the city. I could go back and tell stories about what happened in 68 after the city was coming off of riots and fires, how the 68 Tigers brought that city back together.
I was there.
Wow.
I was there in six. Well, another short story. The 101st deployed to Detroit right after the good citizens of Detroit decided to take the machine guns off the National Guard.
Yeah.
So they deployed us there.
Yeah. A lot of bad decisions that summer.
And that was in June.
Yeah.
In January of 68, there was a little event in Vietnam called Tet.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I turned 21. Literally having an excrement run down the side of my leg.
Wow.
For about daily for about a week.
Yeah.
But so go ahead with your 67 and 68, because that wasn't my idea. 67 and 68.
Well, no, 67 wasn't great, but the summer of 68, the Detroit Tigers gave the city something good to think about when it did not have anything. It was tough. It was tough times then. Similarly, in 84, that this city rallied around that baseball team. Baseball is a different deal, and I'm afraid they don't get it. I'm afraid they do not understand that they're losing guys like me. You lose me, you're in trouble. This game takes me back to my dad and my brothers. You lose me, it's a wrap. You cannot deprive us of the product. They had a meeting today, and my understanding is that it lasted 15 minutes.
15 minutes.
And I was gonna do final thoughts on a Black History Frederick Douglass thing. I had a whole thing set up. Okay, I think I'm good. But this
your
baseball
head
thing.
Body, your head
yeah,
body
I know.
is
We gotta something's going on. They don't want me to talk about Frederick Douglass. What the hell? So I'm gonna go ahead and finish up my final thoughts. Baseball, figure it out. I don't know who it is. What you got to figure it out. Your game is not as healthy as the NFL. You're not in a position to do this kind of BS. You're just not. You've lost a generation of fans already, and you're real. If you deprive me of games, if I can't watch the Tigers in the summer, that's a problem. That's a problem because you lose guys like me. I never come back. I'm a grudge holder. You lose me, I'm done. I'll watch USFL. I will be watching Michigan Panther games. I'm telling you, figure this out and fast because if you deprive us of games, it is to your own detriment. It is a bad look. It's a bad idea. Baseball, figure this out. This is not good. No, for grown men, can't sit down and talk for 15 minutes. No, y'all got to figure this out. Uh-oh, did we lose Mike?
Yeah, I think we lost Mike, but
right.
hopefully.
So yeah, I'll be quick. I'm done. Basically, I just need baseball to figure this out because this ain't good. And you're in real danger right now of making like a catastrophic mistake. If they cancel games, it's gonna hurt. And it's gonna hurt for a long time. So
see, speaking of holding grudges, I still hold Barry Bonds. I still hold the grudge. That hat size, two sizes
way too big.
And on the jet plane, it usually takes at least a couple of weeks, not a couple.
The real problem is that he never needed it. He would have went down as one of the greatest of all time. He never needed to do it. That's how I always feel. He never needed to do it. That's the sad part.
Well, and what's even more sad is that he's actually tainted by the error, not by the evidence.
Exactly.
Because
I don't know if he ever tested positive. Actually.
Right. He never did. But
But you can't ignore that hat size. First thing you said was hat size. We can't ignore that hat size. I got a big head, and I know what a big head looks and feels like. So.
All right, man. Well, I was hoping we could get Mike back, but wait a minute, there he is. Okay, so no, he's back for his final thoughts.
Awesome.
So yeah, Mike wasn't going to let you have all the glory there. Talking about
baseball. I'm going to see if I can fix myself here.
All right, Mike, go ahead, man. You came back just to make sure. Yeah, there you go.
So sort of to we were talking about Demetrius was talking about, and this sort of in the beginning of the show, and this is sort of just jogged my memory about coming together and race, and it reminded me of the Olympics with Adolf Hitler and Jesse Owens, and how a man named Carl Ludwig Long sort of when Hitler was cutting Jesse Owens short and calling fouls every time he would jump off the long jump board, and was always, even though he wasn't violating, they of course didn't want him to win simply because he was black, and Adolf Hitler wasn't going to allow that, would call a penalty every single time, even though he wasn't committing any fouls. And he was hanging out, and there's a picture of it if you guys haven't seen it, with them two just sort of laying, on the grass and talking. And Ludwig turns to Jesse Owens and he's like, "How about this? Why don't you jump just a little bit before that board? And then there's no way that they can call a foul against you." Yep. And that's what he did. And he ended up winning the gold medal because of it. And then they became lifelong friends. Unfortunately, Long died in the war, but it's just regardless, if that can happen, when there's two sides that can separate that far can come together and be together, then we got this. This is something that easy. So I think that's something that I like to try to keep in mind when things are tough or whatever, and we're split, regardless political or any otherwise, that if this situation is there, and we can all come together and beat anything. Great call, Mike. Great call. Thank you. Love it.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to get both of you guys on my political podcast. And I love it when young people, and I'm going to refer to you guys as young people, have this rose-colored view that we can overcome anything. Because although it sounds very idyllic, have you seen the same headlines that I have seen for the last decade? And remember, I'm just giving you a decade. In 1965, there was something passed called the Voting Rights Act. Why is there something in Congress in 2022 called the John
Lewis
Voting Rights Act?
Hmm.
Still.
Right.
So I challenge both of you.
It's easy. We didn't say it was easy, by the way. And I think we both were saying it takes us. It takes us doing it.
Yeah, I mean, there are stripes on your grandparents' back on both sides.
Yeah, absolutely.
And as I mentioned, just coming back from my time warp, there are still places where people think the same.
Yeah. But we can
and not only that, we've been able to pass this down much more than the ability for our kids to be educated. 20% of the kids that graduated high school this year cannot read. Demetrius, you deal in statistics, so you can tell me if I'm wrong.
No. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. So, I would like for you guys to come on and, we can kick this with some other people because, I know they say that progress is slow. And most of my 101 years have passed. I'm trying to find the progress here. I feel like I'm climbing up a sand dune. I don't know if any of you guys have had any desert training, but you can imagine, trying to climb up a sand dune. It's twice as much work to get to the top.
Yeah, absolutely. No.
So those are my final thoughts. I appreciate everyone's time, and hey, even after dark, we still can't stop on time. So hey,
and we shouldn't. Great time, gentlemen. Great time.
Thank you.
Have a good night, guys.
All right, guys.
See you next week.
Take care, gentlemen.
Yeah.